Africa will travel 8,000 miles to a new country, work 3 jobs, get 2 degrees, start a side hustle, selling African print, pillows on Etsy, and still won't tell another African where they bought their laptop. I'm serious. We share party flyers like it's community service. But job leads, suddenly everybody becomes CIA. Classified, top secret, need to know basis. You're at a Nigerian event, right? Room is packed. Doctors, engineers, entrepreneurs, people who've clearly figured some things out. Everybody's dressed to impress, smiling for the group photo. But try asking someone how they actually got their job. Suddenly, it's like you asked for a state secret. Oh, I just applied online. It's God's grace. My brother, it's a long story. We'll talk another time. That time never comes. And here's the thing that keeps me up at night. There are hundreds of thousands of us in every major city in America. Houston, Atlanta, New York, DC, hundreds of thousands. Yet somehow, most of us are navigating this immigration journey alone. Not because we are antisocial, not because we don't want community, but because somehow along the line, we decided that other African abroad are competition, not community. So today, we're talking about that decision and what's costing us. Welcome back to Alien and Stranded. This is not about advice from above. It's about clarity from within. I'm your host, Samson, and today we're diving into one of the most uncomfortable truths about the diaspora experience, why collaboration is so rare among us, and what we lose every single day because of it. We're talking about envy, mistrust, psychology of scarcity, and why the very people who should be our strongest allies feel like threats instead. So buckle up and let's go on the ride. Let's start with some data that will blow your mind. According to the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, there's a massive trust deficit between Nigerians in the diaspora, those back home, and even among ourselves abroad. Not my opinion, official government research. And here's what the trust deficit costs us. In 2024, Nigerian diaspora remittances hit $20 billion. $20 billion flowing back home. That's more than oil revenue. That's more than foreign direct investment. But you know what's almost non-existent? Diaspora investment. African professionals investing in each other's businesses here in the US and in other Western countries because we don't trust each other enough to collaborate. Think about other diaspora communities. The Indian diaspora, they have systemic mentorship programs. They actively place each other in jobs. They invest in each other's startups. And Jewish community have formalized lending circles that have been operating for generations. Chinese business networks, don't even get me started on how efficiently they collaborate. Meanwhile, we have WhatsApp groups with 100 Nigerians where nobody shares anything useful. I'm not trying to romanticize other communities. I'm not saying those other communities are perfect. They have their own issues. But there is something we can learn here about the return on investment of trust. And before you think that I'm standing on some moral high horse, let me tell you, I am guilty of this too. I've looked at someone and thought, I don't know their intentions. I've delayed reaching out to someone because I don't want to look like I'm needy. I've watched opportunities pass me by because I don't want to owe anyone. That's the point. We're making decisions based on inherited fears and anxieties, not present reality. And this is one of those things we all feel, but we rarely say out loud. Let's get into the why. This idea that life is a single plate of jollof rice, and if another person takes the meat, you'll be left with only the grain. But that mindset doesn't just limit money. It limits friendship, it limits mentorship, it limits collaboration. Why? Because if you think success is limited, then another person's rise feels like your own loss. So you start guarding information like it's classified government document. You won't share the recruiter's name, you won't share the business lead, you won't share the playbook. Because deep down you're thinking, if I help them, they'll pass me. But here is the harsh truth. In the diaspora, we're not competing against each other like that. We're competing against systems, networks, and generational pipelines that have been compounding for decades. So when we compete internally, we're basically doing the system's work for free. And inflation is already high, so why do you add self-sabotage to the cost of living? And this is not judgment, it's recognition, pure recognition. And you've probably heard the term crab mentality or crabs in the bucket. The idea is simple. If you put crabs in a bucket, when one of them tries to climb out, the other pulls it back down. Not because they're evil, just pure animal instinct. I don't like this metaphor because it makes us sound like we are mindless animals. We're not. We're making choices, but there's something to the psychology behind it. Research shows that when people feel insecure about their own position, they are more likely to undermine others' success. It's called relative deprivation. You see someone else winning, and instead of feeling inspired, you feel threatened. Why them? Why not me? They are not better than me. They probably cheated. They probably got lucky. Here's what's fascinating. This isn't unique to Africans or Black people. This happens in every community that has been conditioned to fight for scraps. The difference is some communities have figured out a way to break this cycle, and we also can do the same. So let's talk about what we lose when we compete instead of collaborate. Let's get practical. What does this actually cost us? Economic opportunities. First, money. Let's talk about money. When you don't have a strong professional network within your community, you miss out on job referrals. Most good jobs, we're talking about 70 to 80% of professional positions. They are filled through referrals, not on job ads. By the time you apply, they've already been filled. So if you are not plugged in into that network of people who actively want to see you win, you are starting every job search from the scratch. Okay, so let's talk about entrepreneurship. Forget about it. You need capital. You need mentors. You need early customers. All of that comes from network built on trust. Indian entrepreneurs in the US have access to angel investors from their own community. Chinese business owners get connected to suppliers and distribution networks through their networks. What do we have? A bunch of people who wouldn't even tell each other where they got their laptop. I know I'm being funny here, but the cost is real. We're leaving millions of dollars on the table because we won't collaborate. Second area of cost is emotional and mental health support. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Immigration is traumatic, not trauma in the dramatic sense, but in the real psychological sense. You left everything you knew. You're navigating a system you don't understand. You're working twice as hard to prove yourself. You're dealing with microaggressions, visa stress, family pressure from back home. And you're doing it all alone. Because the one group who truly understand what you're going through, other Africans in the diaspora feel like people you can be vulnerable with. So you smile at the party, you post the highlight reel on Instagram, but inside you are drowned. Research on immigration mental health shows that the strongest ethnic community network are one of the biggest protective factors against depression and anxiety. But only if those networks are built on genuine connection, not on performance and competition. So let's talk about knowledge transfer and mentorship. That's another area where we lose for not collaborating. Think about all the mistakes you made when you first got here. The visa application you messed up, the job interview you bumped because you don't understand American workplace culture, the apartment lease you signed without reading the fine print. Now, imagine if someone who'd been here for 5 years had sat you down and said to you, here's what I wish I'd known. How much time would you have saved? How much stress? How much cost? But we don't do that because sharing knowledge feels like we're giving away competitive advantage, except it's not. When you help someone avoid your mistakes, they don't take your spot. They build on your foundation. And when they succeed, they expand opportunities for all of us. The fourth area, of course, is collective bargaining power. Think about this. This is the big one nobody thinks about. When we are divided, we have no power. Other diaspora communities advocate for policy changes together. They lobby, they organize, they make demands as a unified group. Imagine if African professionals in America organized the same way the Indians and Chinese Americans do. Imagine the economic leverage we would have. Instead, we're a bunch of individuals shouting into the void. All right, enough about what's broken. Let's talk about what works when we get it right. There are African networks that function beautifully. Professional associations like Nigerian nurses in the diaspora, they actively place each other in jobs. They mentor, they collaborate. We have tech professionals that have informal Slack groups where they share job leads, research each other's code, and make introductions. Some cities have investment clubs where diaspora Africans pool resources to fund each other's businesses. When it works, it changes everything. One person gets a job, refers 3 others, those 3 people become senior, they hire more from the community, and suddenly you've got a pipeline. One entrepreneur succeeds, invest in other entrepreneur startup. That second entrepreneur scales, employ people from their community, and that's compound effect. So it is not charity. This is compound interest. And here's the mindset shift I need you to understand. Helping someone else succeed is not charity. It's an investment in your own network's value. Think about it like this. Would you rather be a big fish in a small struggling pond or a medium fish in a thriving ocean? When your whole community is winning, opportunities multiply for everyone, right? Now, let me give you some concrete examples. Job referrals. Instead of keeping job lists to yourself, you share them. If it's not right for you, You pass it on to someone else. They'll remember. When they find their next opportunity, they'll think of you. Other area is skill swaps. If you are good at marketing, I'm good at coding. We exchange skills instead of paying for services. Both of us level up. Partnership and accountability. You find someone at your level, you check in weekly about your goals, you keep each other sharp and connected. Group purchases, negotiate group rates for things like professional development courses, software licenses, even insurance. That's collective bargaining power. Investment clubs, you pool a small amount together, like $100 a month. For 10 people, that's $12,000 a year to invest in someone's business. You rotate that each year, and to each person get access to the fund. Eventually, everyone wins. No, none of this requires you to be rich or well-connected or special. It just requires you to see each other African as allies, not threats. Now, let me give you some credit, okay? African hustle is real. Our resilience is unmatched. Our ability to figure things out independently, that's top tier. These are strengths. But here's the paradox. The same hustle that got us here makes us think that we have to do everything alone. And the same resilience that helps us survive makes us allergic to asking for help. The same independence that helps us leave home makes us suspicious of interdependence. Our superpowers is becoming our kryptonite because collaboration requires vulnerability. And we've been taught that vulnerability is weakness. But in the diaspora, vulnerability might be our greatest untapped strength. The person who says, I don't know, can you help me? That person isn't weak. They are smart enough to access resources faster. The person who admits I'm struggling, that person isn't failing. They are giving someone else the gift of being useful. So we need to use our cultural strengths, our hustle, our resourcefulness, our community orientation, not to compete better, but to collaborate better. Imagine if we hustled at building each other up the same way we hustled at individual success. Imagine if we were as resilient in maintaining relationships as we are in surviving hardship. We'll be unstoppable. All right, let's get tactical. Here's your do's and don'ts for building genuine networks in the diaspora. For diaspora Africans looking to build community, start with giving, not asking. Share a useful article. Make an introduction. Celebrate someone's win publicly. Build social capital before you need it. Show up consistently. Join one professional network or cultural group and actually participate. Don't just lurk. Comment, contribute, suggest ideas. Let people see your value over time. Be specific when you are asking for help. Don't say, can we network? Say, I'm trying to transition into data analytics. Would you be willing to spend 15 minutes talking about your career path? Specificity makes it easy for people to help you. Reciprocate strategically. Pay attention to who shows up for you, then show up for them. Build your inner circle intentionally. And here's your don't. Don't approach every interaction transactionally. If the only time you reach out is when you need something, people will notice. Build relationship during peacetime, not just during crisis. Your second don't gatekeep information. If someone asks you how you got your job, tell them. If they ask about your salary range, share it if you're comfortable. Information hoarding keeps everyone poor. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Envy kills collaboration. When you see someone winning, study their playbook instead of questioning their worthiness. Then, don't ghost people after they help you. This should be obvious. But follow up, say thank you, update them on how it went. Basic respect. Build strong long-term relationships. And for African professionals already established, here's your do. Mentor intentionally. Pick 2 to 3 people earlier in their journey and actively invest in them. Your success multiplies when you help others succeed. Great opportunities, don't just share them. If you're hiring, actively recruit from your community. If you're speaking at an event, bring someone with you. Open doors, don't just point at them. Normalize vulnerability. Share your failures, not just your wins. When people see your whole journey, they trust you more and learn more. Build infrastructure. Start a mentorship program, create a job board, organize quarterly meetups. Don't wait for someone else to do it. Take the lead. Don't be a ladder puller. Just because you made it doesn't mean you should make it harder for the next person. That's textbook crab mentality. Don't expect worship in exchange for help. If you need constant praise or validation for helping someone, you're not mentoring, you're performing. Don't only help people who deserve it. Everyone deserves a chance. Some of the most successful people I know succeeded because someone bet on them when they had nothing. And don't forget where you came from. Stay connected to your community as you climb. Your success is portable. Use it to pull others up. The key message here is this: collaboration is a skill. You have to practice it. You will make mistakes, but over time, you build the muscle. All right, we're coming to the end, and this is the time for reflection. Here is it. The bridge you refuse to build today might be the lifeline you need tomorrow. Think about that. You don't know when you are going to need help. You don't know when your visa situation will change, when your job will disappear, when you will need someone to vouch for you. And when that day comes, the network you wish you had built will be the network you actually need. But here's the beautiful part. It's not too late. Every relationship you invest in today is insurance for tomorrow. Every person you help creates a thread in a safety net you might need later. So here's your challenge. 7 days. I want you to do the following. Day 1 and 2, audit your network. Write down 10 Africans in your professional network. Now ask yourself honestly, how many of them could you call right now for genuine help? Not service level connections, real relationships. Day 3 to 4, reach out to one African professional, not to ask for anything, to offer value. Share an article relevant to their work. Make an introduction to someone in your network. Give a genuine compliment about something they've accomplished. Day 5 to 6, join one African professional group. I have one, so if you want to join one, reach out to me. It could be online, it could be in person. Actively participate, comment on posts, share your insight, show up and contribute so that people can see your value. And day 7, post your own win or lesson you learned publicly and tag 3 other Africans who inspired you along the way. Give them their followers. Tag my page. I'll be sure to repost it so that people can see your progress and you build your community from that. And here's your success metrics. If even one person responds positively, you've started building a bridge. And that's how compound interest of trust begins. Look, I know some of you are skeptical. You've been born before. You've helped people who didn't reciprocate. You've tried to build community and it didn't work. I get it. But here's one thing. Your past experience don't have to define your future choices. You're smart enough to know that one data point isn't a trend. A few bad actors don't represent an entire community. So try again. But this time, try strategically. Start small. Test relationships. Build slowly. Pay attention to patterns. And know that the effort you put into building genuine connections will pay dividends for the rest of your diaspora journey. Listen, the walls you built to protect yourself might be the same walls keeping you isolated. But you have the power. You have the power to tear them down and build bridges instead. This is Alien and Stranded. Till next time, stay focused, stay grounded, stay African.